$3.5 million, that's what my real estate company bought in its first 2 years as a newbie. And truth be told, I did the opposite of everything that you've been told about real estate. All the gatekeepers will tell you that you need a pile of cash, or you need your real estate license, or if you don't have your license, you need a licensed real estate agent or a wholesaler to help you find deals and grow your business. I didn't do a single one of those things. What I did instead was build one simple system that put me in control of my entire business and the entire game. It's the reason I've been able to buy house after house after house in and out of every single real estate market that you can think of since 2019. And in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how I built it all from scratch. And more importantly, I'm gonna give you the 4-step system so that you can follow step by step and do the exact same thing for yourself. By the end of this video, you're gonna know how to find deals for cheap, how to get them funded every single time, and the part no one talks about, how to get paid on deals you don't even buy. If you don't know me, my name is Morrison III, and I've done over 50 transactions since we launched in 2019, and I've been able to help hundreds of investors just like you close deals in over 40 states. On top of all the deals I've closed for myself and other clients, I've also raised millions of dollars in private capital through various different markets, including the pandemic, interest rate hikes, and even the slow market that we're in right now. So everything I'm about to show you comes from real deals that I've actually done. Now, as good as all that sounds, my life was not always like that. I was not always a 7- and 8-figure investor in real estate. In fact, prior to 2019, I wasn't in real estate at all. My first career was actually a professional basketball player. I played overseas in Portugal, and my career was mediocre at best. See, when I started to get good at basketball, I actually ended up attending 5 different high schools. My parents were going through a divorce, and whatever, that's just how it ended up happening. But as a result, my recruiting was all jacked up, and I ended up at a Division II school. There I went on to have a couple of okay seasons. In fact, my freshman season, I didn't even play because my credits were all messed up because I went to 5 different schools. So sophomore and junior year, I did pretty good. And then senior year, I actually blew out my knee. I'm talking 4 games in, ACL, meniscus, just gone. Now, somehow I still managed to get overseas and play in Portugal, which is a story for a whole nother video. And after about a season and a half, I realized what no one told me prior to becoming a professional basketball player. And that's that I have no control over anything. This is just like any other job with a boss, and your fate is very much, in fact, in someone else's hands. Your contract can get cut for no reason. Your team can lose funding. You can get traded to another organization. You get paid under the table. Agents can steal from you. And there's virtually no protection from any of these things. And that's around when I realized I couldn't build my life on somebody else's terms. Now, I'm an entrepreneur at heart, so this is when my entrepreneur instinct started to kick in, and I came home and I started to try a few different things. I wouldn't even waste your time telling you what they were because none of them went anywhere. My most successful business at the time was a youth basketball organization where I was coaching kids to basically become a good basketball player like me. But coaching kids basketball doesn't make the big bucks that I desired. So after months of hustling that, I knew something had to change. And then one day, my neighbor wanted to sell his house. Little for sale by owner sign and write his phone number on it, and I simply approached him. At that point, from YouTube, I knew a little bit about wholesaling, so I knew if I can get this property at a certain price and I can find someone who wants it for more than I got it for, I can make a little money. So I got this guy under contract for $120,000. I hit up every real estate person I knew. I ended up selling it for $140,000 and got a $20,000 check with no experience, no money, no nothing. Just literally more money than I made in months of playing overseas in one transaction. Now, let's be honest, that deal literally came from luck or God or whatever you believe in. Like, what are the odds my neighbor would want to sell a house that he inherited from his mom? He happened to want cash, happened to want to sell quick. Like, this was literally the stars were aligned. And I'm sure you can guess what happened next. I had no system, no plan, no nothing. So a whole year went by before I closed my next deal. So boom, fast forward 2020, the pandemic hits, interest rates are low, and this is like one of the most booming markets some of us will ever see in our lifetime. I mean, everybody is buying and selling every piece of real estate in sight. So I decided to flip my first house. I made $100,000 from my first flip, and I ended up going on to flip 4 houses in that first year. At this time, deals were so easy to find and so easy to flip and so easy to sell that I didn't think anything of it. I just thought I had this amazing business and I could just keep doing what I was doing. And boy, was I wrong, because when the pandemic wore off and interest rates went back up and the market slowed down, I caught myself with my pants down. And that's when the cold, hard truth hit. I had no system. I didn't even really have a real business, It was more of just a hustle. I had no way of putting a steady flow of quality real estate deals in front of me so that I could keep making money. And that lack of a system quickly caught up with me. I later went on to lose over $500,000. And I'm gonna be straight with you about this part because no one talks about this. I made a lot of money in my career, but I lost so much from overpaying for houses, borrowing way too much money, scaling into new markets too fast, and taking on big construction projects that were basically a bet on contractors to like do what they say they were gonna do, which as you go on in your investing career, you'll realize it's the stupidest thing you could ever do. But that pain is exactly what stopped me from winging it and forced me to build a proven system that works every single time. Now, before I break this down, I wanna be so clear. You don't need any certification or any license for any of this at all. You don't need a big pile of cash. You don't need an 800 credit score. And you don't need realtors or wholesalers. You can do all of this on your own. All you have to do is follow these 4 steps. Step 1, you need to create a brand. Now, I know this sounds like one of those soft, skippable steps. I promise you it's not. This is one of the most important things you're going to do when investing in real estate. Because most people, including me, think the same way. Why do I need a brand, a logo, a color scheme, a website to invest in real estate? But what you're gonna learn is that this first step is what makes the next 3 even at all possible. And it comes down to one thing: credibility. See, when you cut out wholesalers and you cut out agents, you start to go direct to the motivated sellers so that you can get the house, the properties, the deals at the cheapest price. You are going to need some form of credibility because now you can't piggyback off of the wholesaler's brand or the real estate agent's brand. So if you're gonna approach people to buy the most valuable thing that they've likely ever owned, you absolutely need to come correct. What you gotta understand is most of these people's phone is already filled with people texting and calling them to try to buy their house. And most of the marketing in this space comes off spammy already. Cash for your house, we buy houses, buying as is. And to be truthful, most of the motivated sellers think it's a scam. So the first thing running through their head isn't how much is this person gonna give me for their house? It's actually, is this person even real? And this is the part that most people never realize. The investor who looks the most legit is the one who gets invited into people's homes to even get the discussion going. Because nobody is letting someone who they think is a scammer inside their house to make them a cash offer. So while everyone else is getting ignored, you're the one who actually gets replied to. So your brand isn't about looking pretty and polished, although that helps. It's literally there to answer one question: is this person legit? In fact, I've had appointments cancel on me while I'm on the way to the property because they couldn't find me or my company on Google. So when someone can search you, find you online, and see that it's a legitimate business and brand, that question gets answered, and it's all it takes for them to open up. Which finally brings us to step 2. How do you actually even find these people? So there's 2 tools to actually build your pipeline. The first one is called PropStream. PropStream allows you to search in any area and literally filter the properties by motivation. By doing this, you're only gonna be contacting people who have a real reason to sell. This includes pre-foreclosure, bankruptcy, divorce, a vacant property owner, an out-of-state owner, a landlord who's sick of being a landlord, people stuck in high interest rates or are upside down on their mortgage. These are the ones who actually want to sell, and these are the ones most likely to respond. Now, side note, if you're gonna go ahead and get PropStream, I'm gonna put the link in the description so that you can sign up using my special link that gets you a little discount and a free trial. When you use PropStream to download this list of people, you're gonna do what's called skip tracing. Skip tracing, which you can Google, typically costs anywhere between 10 and 15 cents per person. But with PropStream, if you get the 2nd tier subscription, you get unlimited free skip tracing. So that's a little bonus hack I like to give everyone so you don't have to worry about having a big bill pulling a list of these people. Now, here's why this matters. You wanna pull a large list of these people because texting one by one is not gonna get it done. Remember, we are here to systemically and predictably close real estate deals. And so many people I work with get this wrong. They pull a list of 30, 100, 200 people and they think they're doing something. But that simply doesn't move the needle when you're talking about predictability, when you're talking about a guaranteed deal. So our recommendation here at United Home Relief is to always pull a list of 5,000 to 6,000 people or more. We found that this number is the sweet spot for always, every single time, finding someone who actually wants to sell. Now, as you can imagine, 5,000 people, if you text everybody at 10 cents, that's $500. So hopefully now it makes sense why I would tell you to pay for a higher subscription so that you get free skip tracing. So boom, let's go back to the texting. Now, texting 5,000 people one by one or in a group text is literally unrealistic. So you're gonna need this second tool in order to do this with the click of one button. I'm gonna link a tool we call Acquisitions OS that allows you to take the list from PropStream, upload it into this software, and text all of your leads, not just once, but an 8-sequence follow-up with a built-in AI chatbot to go back and forth with the motivated sellers to book an appointment automatically on your calendar. Again, I can shoot a whole other video about this, but for now, I'll just give you the link below. You have 2 resources to not only pull the list, but also text them at scale. So boom, now that you've texted 5,000 people using the 2 tools that I gave you, I want you to know exactly what to look out for as far as what makes a good deal. Most of the responses are likely gonna be negative. You're gonna get people saying stop. And if I'm honest, most of the 5,000 people won't even respond. But that's the secret. That's why we pull such a big list, because all we need is someone to say 2 magic words for us to close a deal, or 2 magic phrases, 4 magic words. Anyway, the words are, I'm interested, or my favorite, what's your offer? Either way, any of those texts are absolutely crucial, because the minute you get that response, you have a duty. Research this person's property, immediately get them an offer. See, most people stall here. They get nervous, they ask for more information, they give the person analysis paralysis, they ask to come see the property first. You're gonna do the opposite. You're gonna make sure you get them an actual number within the hour, because this offer is not so much about price. This offer is just what gets you in the door. The appointment is actually what matters, because everything changes when you are standing inside of that house in front of that motivated seller. See, over text, everybody's bold. They talk crazy to you, they're rude, they stand firm on their offer. But in person, it's a whole different experience. When you walk in with your comps ready, information on the neighborhood, information on the house, you got your clipboard or your notepad, you're taking notes on what work needs to be done. And then you run through the numbers with them without missing a beat. Immediately, you have positioned yourself as the expert, as an authority. So as you can imagine, they start to treat you like such. It's the same reason we don't argue with our doctors, because when the person in front of you clearly knows more about you than you know about yourself, you stop pushing back and you start taking their word for it. And that brings us to step 3. Now, before we get into step 3, if you find this video interesting, make sure you drop a like below. And I would love if you subscribe to this page, because we're pushing out a ton of content like this that's extremely valuable toward furthering your real estate career. And I don't want you to miss a single one of those videos. Now back to step 3, and this is the part that I promised earlier, where you can make money in real estate without even having to buy the property. See, my real estate deals that come through the pipeline that I created can make me money in 4 different ways. If a seller only cares about getting top dollar for their home, that's a deal I wouldn't buy as an investment, and I certainly wouldn't wholesale it to someone else to buy as an investment, because there's just not enough meat on the bone there. So instead of forcing a lowball offer, I'm like, okay, cool, you want top dollar? We can certainly help you with that. And then I hand that lead over to a licensed real estate agent, and they simply pay me a fee for that lead. It costs me nothing, and that agent gets to get an extra listing that they were hungry for anyway. That one move alone makes my company an extra 6 figures every single year. Now, if the numbers work, but it's a little too tight for me to buy, or if I'm already I have too many deals going on, then I'll wholesale it. I get the house under contract at one price, I add my fee on top, and then I sell it to a fellow investor and I make my fee. Those investors are happy to pay me a fee because they're still getting it below market value. I didn't put up a dime, but I still made the spread, just like that first deal I told you about that I closed in 2019. Now, every now and then, a property will come in as a home run, we call it, where there's just so much profits that it would be stupid for me not to buy it. So for those, I'm obviously either flipping it for a big profit or holding on to it and renting it out so I get paid every single month from the asset. So same house, different conversation, but 4 completely different ways to win. And the only reason I get to choose from all 4 of these strategies is because I went directly to the seller. If you go through an agent or a wholesaler, you do not have this autonomy and control over the transaction. Any decision you want to make, somebody already made it for you, and they're taking their cut along the way. Now, once you picked which way you want to take advantage of the deal, there's only one thing left to do, and that's pay for it, which brings me to step 4. Funding is the part that scares the most people, but it's ironically the easiest. Before people even start, they assume you need so much money or such good credit to get a deal funded. I promise you don't. Most times, it's a hard money lender or a private lender putting up all of the money to get this deal done. And the cool thing about hard money lenders and even private lenders is that they just want to make money. So if you followed the first 3 steps and found fat, juicy deals that make money, you can always get your deals funded. These are the exact kinds of people and lenders that I've raised millions of dollars from. They fund the deal, you do the work, everybody gets paid. And when you get good, you can get creative to where you don't even need private funding. Sometimes the seller has a mortgage they can't afford and you can just take over this mortgage. This is called a subject to deal. This is great when someone's behind on the mortgage or they just want out of the deal. Other times there's opposite scenarios where the property is owned outright, so the seller will just be the bank themselves and you pay them payments over time. And you'd be surprised at how many sellers agree to this because of various tax advantages and other reasons why they don't want to just take a lump sum up front. So between private lenders and those creative options, a lot of time you're buying real estate without a traditional bank, without good credit, without a dollar of your own, which is exactly what I promised you from the start. So now you've got the full 4-step system, but there's a specific mistake that most people make when they go to run this play. And it's the reason a beginner can do everything I just said and still go weeks without closing a deal. So watch this video right here next, where I break down exactly what the mistake is and how one of my clients avoided this mistake and closed 3 deals in their first 3 weeks. And the simple change you can copy and do the same for the next list you pull.